Hi, fourth graders. Mrs. Skachillis here. I'm going to start with a poem this week. So this poem, Miss Kenyon is going to be teaching you this week. It's called a cinquain poem. And the rules, it's a very picky poem. The first line has to be a noun, which is a person, place, or thing. The second line has to have two adjectives that describe the title, whatever you choose. The third line is three verbs. They usually have an ing ending. Remember, a verb is an action word, and it's about the title. The fourth line is going to talk about phrases that express feelings about the title, and there are 4 of those. And then the last line is just a one-word synonym meaning the word that means the same thing for the title. So it's an example, but I'm going to share the one that I wrote, and I'm going to try not to get emotional. So this one is a cinquain, and it's called School. So it starts with school, and then I described it as our class, family, we're strong, and then I had to come up with verbs to describe. Right now we're doing distance learning, growing, and we are all believing in one another. And then I had to get emotional about my title, and I'm sad that we won't be back. Then I had to come up with a word that represented school to me, and that was students. So now that you understand the poem, I'm going to read it one more time. School, class, family, strong, distance learning, growing, believing, sad we won't be back, students. Okay, so it's a simple poem. It's very sweet, and it's emotional. 5 lines. All right, so I can't wait to see your cinquains this week. All right, so we're going to start off with reading a page from Venom about centipedes and millipedes this week. And your assignment's actually going to be on the same page. So after you read through it with me, you can reread it to do your assignment. Okay, so you can click on it and you can read along with me. They've got legs and they know how to use them. In our homes, spiders aren't the only venomous critters that find good pickings among the many insects that live with us. Centipedes like to make a meal out of common household bugs too. In the wild, they like moist forest floors, moist meaning wet. In our home, they've adapted to the dampness of our bathrooms and basements. Centipedes are not insects. They have many body segments and 15 to 150 pairs of legs to go with them. The first is a pair of claws called prehensors that have adapted for grasping prey and injecting venom. Some of these critters, such as the colorful 12-inch-long bat-eating rainforest centipede, deliver painful envenomations. The small house centipede in your bathtub may also be able to stab, but it can't cause you much injury, and it gets rid of lots of pests, including bed bugs. Ooh, well, that's good. Millipedes, also relatives of the centipedes, have 20 to 100 body segments. So they have even more, most with 2 pairs of legs each. Living outdoors, they eat leaves and decaying vegetation, and most are not venomous at all. They have a tough exoskeleton, and their main defense is to roll into a tight, hard ball. So that's their defense. They roll up. But some species are poisonous, such as the yellow spotted millipede right there. Like a few uncommon centipede species, they emit or give off acid or liquid hydrogen cyanide, which is a toxic, sometimes featured in murder mysteries to repel predators such as ants and toads. Although millipedes don't discharge enough of these poisons to hurt people, it's a good idea not to touch your eyes after handling this species. Black lemurs or primates found in Madagascar and South American capuchin monkeys are also known to rub millipedes on themselves using the poison to repel insect pests. That's interesting. So they use it to rub down their bodies, and it, keeps the pests away. Spiders, centipedes, and millipedes are helpful animals with every right to live. But when it comes to sharing our house and yard with these beings, most of us would probably prefer roommates that don't stab, bite, or ooze. So if you look at the pictures up here, we have a rainforest centipede. That looks pretty nasty. This is something you probably have seen in your home. I know we've seen plenty of these in our house. Mostly, like they said, in our basements and our bathrooms, we've seen them. House centipede. We have just a millipede. You've probably seen them outside. And then I hope you haven't seen this one. We have not seen this one, the yellow spotted millipede. Ooh. All right, so you're going to use this reading, and I filled in a graphic organizer for you. Don't worry about the bottom. But you should have recognized this graphic organizer because we've used this before. We're going to come up with some ideas on how they protect themselves and then how they survive. And I added, it's millipedes and centipedes. So the information you're going to complete in a little bit, it's for both because this information is about both animals. All right. So on this side, how do they protect themselves? Well, I wrote the yellow spotted millipede. They're poisonous. Okay. And then how do they survive? Well, they emit acid or hydrogen, liquid hydrogen, which is a toxin to repel predators like ants or toads. Okay, how else do they survive? How do they protect themselves? Well, they roll up in a tight ball, the millipedes do. And this then helps them hide or stay protected from predators that are trying to get them. Now, this was a both statement. Centipedes and millipedes, they protect themselves because they have 30 to 2,000 legs. So I covered on the amount of legs of both of them. And then how does that help them survive? Well, they can move quickly. These legs help them move quickly to avoid predators. Very fast they can move. And then the last thing I put for how they protect themselves is they both have a hard, tough exoskeleton. And how does that help them survive? Well, it makes it really hard for the predators then to hurt them because their exoskeleton's so hard. And then in the last section, I went back in the reading and I came up with some other facts about millipedes that I thought were interesting. I thought it was interesting that centipedes, the first is a pair of claws and it's used for grasping its prey and injecting venom. Thought that was interesting. Capuchin monkeys, they rub millipedes on themselves, using that as poison then to repel themselves. Pretty cool. And then the last thing I found interesting about both of them is that millipedes and centipedes, they both live in moist, dark places. Mostly if you'd find them out on the florist floors outside in your backyard, and then bathrooms or basements if it's inside. All right, pretty cool. So what you're going to do this week, your assignment is to reread page 15, which is attached on the website. And then you are going to fill out this main idea graphic organizer, which is also on the website. And if you don't have paper, if you don't have a printer, no worries. You can just write it on a piece of paper. It's the graphic organizer we've been using. So you're going to come up with what is this whole section in a statement mostly about. Remember, you're looking at the title, you're looking at the first sentence, last sentence, you're thinking about whole picture. What is this about? And then come up with 2 to 3 supporting details. And then the last thing you're going to do down here is you're going to summarize in at least 5 sentences what is this whole section about. Millipedes and centipedes, what's it about? And remember to use those transition words, okay? So that's what you're going to do this week. I do hope that you're all staying safe and healthy, and I hope that you're going to get outside. It's supposed to be an absolute gorgeous week. So we miss you so much. Stay safe. We love you. Bye, guys.
Jack misses you guys too.